Hey, what's up, guys? This is Damnation here, and we're here for No Quarter, Episode 3, Raid Tips, Tricks, and Thoughts. We got a pretty good panel tonight. We got Toxic.
G'day, how we go?
We got Ross Crow. He's always here. You guys know, you know that. You know that we're on the air. Ross is going to be here.
That's right.
We got RB.
Howdy, everyone.
We got Bad Cruising. And we got Raptor Roo.
Hey-o.
So, yeah, who wants to go first? Don't all speak up at once.
I'll go first.
All right.
I've got $3. They're fully built, fully weaponized, except they don't have the C charged armor. So I've only got two plates on them. Took them into to an 81 with two of my FM Z-losses behind, and ended up killing it. But it cost me the whole fleet. I had like 10 minutes of life left on one ship. Then I got told that the ironclads would do 60, so I tried that with my bucks first. That didn't work. It was an hour and a half damage with them. And then I did my ironclads. Took a lot of damage, so I refitted them a little bit, and I can now do one of the 60s, so 61, 3, or 5 for instant repair. If I have a what do you call those crews with a guy with a blowtorch on it, whatever they're called. So I can do them for instant repair on the map. I've now got myself 2 of the charged sea armors, and I've put them on the bucks, and I've just tried them out, and I still died in the 85. So I have to wait for the third one to come out and see what happens then. Now, what I've noticed in the 60, yeah.
I was going to say, so as a level 109, you've been reduced to hitting level 60 targets, right?
That's correct, yes. Yep.
So you go ahead.
I mean, I haven't done any 80s. I've done 180 and 185. I did the 81, and like I said, I had like, I don't know, 9.5 hours repair or whatever it was, and I've just killed off my 2 bucks in the 85. But yeah, what I was going to say, in the 61s, there is just as you go up around that corner up the top, just before you come back down to the last bit of it, there is what I've noticed, there's one turret up there, which is a blunderbuss, and that has got another turret sitting right on top of it. So if you think you can go drive by because you've killed that turret, au contraire, do not do it. Wait until the second bar comes up, and until that goes all red and then dies. So just be wary of that. It's in the 63 and in the 61 that I've noticed that there is one turret where there is another turret on top of each other. So you can only see one, but there's 2 there. Sometimes they point in different directions, and you can see that there's one there. Sometimes they do not. And also in the 60s, I used my hull and a nuclear cruiser as a lead ship to reduce the damage, the radioactive damage. It's okay to sit in a radioactive pool for a little bit. It's better to sit in one of them than it is to rush into a blunderbuss and get shot by those little projectiles, whatever they've got. Especially the ones that are grayed out, that they're like a matte gray. They're not shiny like the normal blunderbuss. If you run into one of them, you will definitely not do it with instant repair on the map. Apart from that, yeah, I've gotten enough points to get me a hope and 2 charged sea armor so far, as well as the build tokens to put it on the ship. So that's as far as I got in this raid. So I've got about 25 or 26 million points.
So overall, your opinion: good, bad, indifferent.
The targets are well designed. I like the graphics and I like the explosions. I don't like the footprints. They just seem to be willy-nilly all over the place. You click on things and nothing moves because there's a footprint there of a building or a resource generator that's like miles away. I'd have to say 50-50 for the target. For me not being able to do the assets like what I normally do, I have to say it's pretty poor.
Cool. RB, what about you? How's things going?
Everything that Toxic said. So I'm just autoing the 60. I found the footprints really hard as well. You know, I was clicking around and nothing would happen, and then bang. I used the Iron Maiden TLCs to put some countermeasures on my ironclads, and I'm just instant repairing, but it's a long grind.
And so your final end tally: good, bad, indifferent.
Well, it's pretty bad. You know, people are succeeding, but they've had to make a pretty major investment, in my opinion, because I'm a tight ass and I try not to, you know, I'd spend as little as possible, try to work out the targets as much as I can. If you've got the money, you're really successful. If you don't, tough shit.
Rue, how about you? We're gonna hit Callum last, and we'll let him say how well he's doing right before I throw him off the show forever. But Rue, we'll go with you. We'll go with you. Rue, are you there?
Helps if you unmute. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of mixed. I like the targets. I like the design of them. I'm frustrated that there are so many people that did not have the opportunity to finish their fleet to be able to do the elite target. I was a dirty, filthy coiner, and I bought some of the tokens to put the second piece of charged armor on. And even with that second piece of charged armor, if you've got a build that works well in the A sets, which mine does, it doesn't work as well because of the specials in the elite target. So that's very frustrating. I do like the fact that doing the A sets is comparable in time and in fact, in many cases, less time because you're not having to do the hokey pokey in and out. You can run through a bunch of A sets with a reasonable fleet and be able to rack up points and then, you know, slow repair overnight. Not sure why doing an A set pays more points than doing an elite target. Somebody has some math issues. But yeah, it's very frustrating with punitive damage. You know, if you even with charged armor, if you drive into the last set of the quad emitters in the S target and you sit, sneeze, blink, get caught with lag, your charged armor is completely gone and you're taking all of this extra damage. And as the others have said, it's very frustrating seeing high-level players who are, you know, very good drivers reduced to the minimum targets because, you know, even half a fleet, you're not even able to drive good and put the effort in. And even if you want to grind, you're still stuck now in an even worse position where you are grinding even much lower targets. So I would have to say thumbs down because of the planning, the lack of communication on some of the changes, and the damage in the target, I think, is just it's too high.
Cool. Ross, what do you got going on, buddy?
I would say similar to Rue there. I think that I like the size of the target. In all honesty, the size of the target. I try to be positive here. I'm starting with those. The size of the target is smaller to me. Not a great deal, but you know, some. So it's faster. That's a positive for me. The prepability of the targets in the 80 sets is a nice thing for me to see. The way that we are allowed to leave a shipyard or something that will not damage another player, that's nice. That they're not directly in the path that or you take unneeded damage. Well, many times I take much more damage trying to prep for someone than if I were just to kill the target, and that's frustrating. And I don't see that in this target, so that makes me happy. Or in the 80s, that's what I know of. I was not prepared for the event, so I have 2 Buccaneers, and what I did was my Buccaneers I thought were complete, but they're definitely not. They needed the charged radioactive armor, so I grinded what I could through using just the 2 ships, and until I could get the radioactive charge armor and then the tokens to put the 2 on. I did that, and just with the 2 hulls now, I have 4 skulled, but they're not finished, and they're certainly not set up for this. So I'm going with the 2, and I added a Highlander, and you can't hit the S targets because you're not allowed to enter the tower with the Highlander, but you can use it on the map. So that when I brought that out, it really made a huge difference to me. Now, I take a lot of. It's just what I've noticed is it's a hard target for me to design or build a ship for, in all honesty, because I think that truly that they've been altering the target a great deal the first day, so I'm unable to adapt on that first day, and now I'm getting sporadic paths. I'm autoing, so I'm getting strange areas where I get stuck in certain numbers and at certain times. And so with that in mind, I think that's a bad thing. But I like, all those things I mentioned about the 80s. I'm a level 138 player, and I'm hitting way down, so that's upsetting to me. And I've had to totally refit after the event started, and that's new for me also. So, I mean, it's happened before, and people will say, well, sometimes items aren't offered. Well, I planned on the charged armor being offered, but I didn't know it was required in the 80 sets. But for the most part, I'm doing okay now. The communication on the event has been my worst part leading up to it, on just the general way it has developed. But the targets I'm doing now. That's about it. I mean, it's a hard. I think at my level it's doable, and because I adapted to it. If you're a non-coiner or a minimal coiner, it's not doable. And I mean, I know everyone has a different definition of, I guess, doable. And I'm talking about able to get the top hull and the required components for the top hull. I think it's out of focus. It was made that way for this event, for the lower players.
Cool. Callum, what do you got going? Yeah, we know. We're First Global. Shut up. Get out of here. Nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody likes you. No, go ahead, guy. What you got? What are you using? How are you doing?
I'm using one of my Hydras, which I gave Hellfire the build to post that we did the show before the raid. And that's the exact same build I'm using, and I'm autoing a Hydra campaign with 1 ship, 30-minute damage. And I did coin the lead Buccaneer, so I'm also prepping for others in my group as well. And I agree with you guys about the damage. It's crazy if you haven't got the right builds or the charged armor, for instance. So they need to really, really rethink about this with the charged armor and everything else.
I guess I'll go into a little bit what's going on with me. Okay, so the raid started.
Old man, it's salty.
So the raid started. I went in. I've been looking forward to this raid for a while, actually. because the last 2 raids we had were assault and skirmish, and we spent half of those raids running away from your targets more than you do engaging your targets because of all the kiting and whatnot that you have to do. And I was like, okay, cool, a siege raid. I can go in and actually just drive in and kill shit and not have to be running away the whole time and have success and have fun. Well, I went into the S target. Dude, I didn't even get like a third of the way through that thing. Probably not even a quarter of the way through that thing. Poof, dead. All my boats, dead, done, down the water. I'm like, okay, well, obviously that I was not a happy camper. So, I let it slow repair because I decided right away once I saw that I'm not spending a red cent on this raid. I'm not spending any of the coins that are in my account either. They can go straight to hell. So I went in and I started doing some, they got repaired. So I went out and I started hitting some A sets, and I can do them, but I put my Highlander new cruise flag in there, and I can do them for, instant map repair. So I'm fine with that. But I haven't been pushing myself at all. Like if I feel like it, I go out and hit a couple targets. And, after I hit 2 or 3 sets, I'm like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I personally, I am so dejected by the way that this raid has played out going into it after it started and to where we're at this point. I'm just so dejected that I don't even feel like hitting this raid. The big problem, in my opinion, is the step from the A set to the elite target. They're not even remotely the same kind of target. So there's no escalation path there because you have to have almost an entirely different setup to hit the S target. I personally find it not to be a coincidence at all that the most difficult target that's in this raid and the one that has a mechanic that nobody was expecting was not put into the test server, and that they knew full well that 99% of the people who were going to be participating in this raid at the top end, that's the hull that they were going to be using, and that's the target they were going to want to be hitting. And I find it to be no coincidence that that was not in the test server with these new mechanics that cause such massive amounts of damage to be inflicted upon our fleets. So there, anybody want to go on that tinfoil hat part of things?
Actually, not on that piece of it, and I don't disagree. You brought up a key point that I think equates to everything. Do you remember back when it was like the week before the raid, everybody was very excited about it, lots of talk about builds and, what are we going to get this time? And there was a general feel of excitement about the event, and, people would jump on as soon as they got off of work and say, oh, hey, how's it going? What can I do? Well, hey, is it just me, or is that completely gone?
It has gone completely.
Yeah, it's completely gone. It's a monthly chore that nobody wants to do, but everybody's scared to death not to do.
Yeah, I mean, I remembered my husband, he was in a different sector than me, and I'd go sit there and, he was always earlier for me starting, and I'd be over there checking it out and seeing what's happening and, all that kind of stuff. And it just seems that whole excitement piece is completely gone, and people are just, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why am I sitting here for hours and hours and hours grinding away at little targets?
Well, part of that is all the amount of points that we need, and then the other part is, people are afraid now, and they most players that wait for a video before they even start because they want to know how bad is it going to be. How do I avoid losing my fleet right away? Because now the fleets, even at halftime repair, are a lot more expensive to repair.
I totally agree, George. I think that a lot of people have asked me, even just as an alliance leader, not as some great hitter for sure. I'm just putting that out there, but they're wanting to know, hey, can you post and share the videos on this? Well, I don't have them, and I didn't. This isn't what I was prepared for. Now I have been sharing what I've been seeing, but as far as I can tell, these targets have been changing. I mean, or they're just random things that occur in them. Also, they're very hard to build for. Are you noticing that? Or
there's a lot of RNG going on, and I know that at one point yesterday they were playing with the pathing, because I actually ended up having the bad luck of running a target on auto while something was changing, and it cost me almost the entire fleet. And then today, again, I don't think they're changing the damage. I think they're changing either pathing or mechanics in the targets.
Okay, yeah, I've noticed the pathing because, well, and I auto too, and a couple yesterday I got stuck in the corner of the screen and it just wouldn't even come out of it.
And that, you know what, that's, Mike, I think we talked about this last night. That's an issue too, because that was found in the test server. Why is it still there?
Yep, exactly. That's like the whole thing with, you know, some of the turrets that end up being underneath the comms box. So if you have your comms open at all, you don't know those turrets are there. It's like, why would you even put them there other than just be a sneaky rat bastard?
The double turret thing I have seen though, and I was shocked, and I'm glad. And I don't know if anybody's mentioned. I hadn't seen it on any pages yet or anything. But when Toxic just mentioned that, I was looking at these. I was looking at others hitting these targets, trying to suggest things, and it was a 60 target. And I'm looking, and the turret had two guns facing two different directions on it. And I'm looking, and they were both firing. And so
yeah, oh yeah, they'll soon shoot you down if you're not careful.
And so I was shocked that that's a new one for me. I haven't seen that before. And
that's sorry, you go.
No, yeah, but so that was a shocker, you know, a double turret. I want that. And at two different directions, a little bit, you know. It was pretty sweet.
And that's for in the 60s, you know, that's what the little guy's supposed to hit, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly you know, so, gee, that looks funny. And why do I take damage when I come by here? Until it just by accident I've seen it. I hadn't hit it yet, and there was no explosions around it. And I saw that there was one turret pointing, you know, to the bottom left of the corner, and the other one was pointing to the bottom right. I'm going, oh, you sneaky bastards! That's how they did it.
It's something I was kind of finding interesting in the S target. If I'm not mistaken, you know, because after trying my first two, I said, yeah, fuck this thing. I'm not doing this anymore. If I'm not mistaken, most people, unless they have the exact proper build and they're using demo squads to do the target, most people are having to retreat like about 3 times, right? To keep their charge pool up and
it depends.
Active into the very last to the end of the target.
Yeah, I think it depends also on how many. Like, if you only have 1 charged armor, you're doing it more than 3. If you have 2, you can get away with either 1 to 3, depending on, you know, how bad you were driving or whatever.
Right. I just found it interesting that like people are having to retreat in a lot of cases 3 times, and just coincidentally they happen to reduce that pool by 2/3. So like, had they not reduced that pool at all, people could have potentially actually autoed these targets with the auto hull like they were supposed to have been able to do.
Yep.
Now, what can you just put me on screen or whatever you want to call it?
Oh, I suppose I can. You want to be a star? That's what's going on. You want to be a star? Toxic?
Yeah, I want to be the star.
The BMX star.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the two. There's the 2 of them.
This is the turrets here. So, and that's the one where there is 2. So there's one underneath the other, and there's the same in the 61.
And they both fire.
And they both fire. Yes.
Unreal.
Yeah. So you have to kill one, and then all of a sudden you think you killed it, and then but there's another health bar underneath that. I mean, it doesn't take long to kill it too, but if you get too close, they've got some kind of rockets or whatever it is in there as well as a ballistic, and it does take a chunk out of your health, and
So
you won't be able to map repair for free, you know.
So it shoots twice, and you have to kill it twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Well, let me just see if I can get to it, and show you.
Have they done anything right this week? Like anything at all?
Well, there you go. That didn't work, then, did it?
No. I saw the two. I saw the 2 shots. I think I might have actually grabbed a screenshot of it too. Hold on, let me check. Let me see if it worked.
Come on. Don't know if there's a.
Yep.
I got another one.
No, I got it.
There's another one in the 61.
Have they done anything right this raid? Like anything?
Look. Here's the catch. And I'm hearing myself through your damnation. I don't know if you didn't mute your YouTube, buddy. After playing with the target, right? I have I walked away. My second hit was the one that I did the first video on. I have other videos I'm refusing to put up until tomorrow, Monday. I don't want to help them have a successful raid at this point. I'm so upset. But after playing with it and retuning my fleet, because what we saw in the A sets in the preview server did not correlate to the S target because they're balanced differently. I'm doing the target for instant repair in the base. Okay. The problem is I had to refit from what our expectation was, what the expectation, we got from what they released. And that's not a good way to release product to customers at all.
Well, and I think I said this, was saying this right before you jumped on, that I don't think that there's any coincidence at all that the one target that we didn't see was the one that was vastly different and had these vastly different mechanics in it. I do not think that was a coincidence at all.
I don't know. I don't know that it's a mechanic thing. I think it's more of a damage distribution thing, because what works in the S set is layered armor and a lot of charged C. Like my final build's probably going to be 4 charged C and layered armor. Unfortunately, you only get 5 this raid, which is really kind of, I don't understand that. And that was done purposely. The 5 of the radiation and the 5 of the ballistic charged. Laredo said in one of the shows that was actually intended. They're trickling it out rather than letting us have what we actually need. Now the catch is looking at the damage that I'm getting. I'm only getting that because I'm running a demo squad, okay, which corresponds with what the flag is going to give me. Well, if this month this is tuned for a fleet with a flag in it, what is it going to be tuned for next month? Do I have enough charged armor to actually fit all of my ships? 5 ships is 10 armors. I mean, I might, but then I can't have anything on my hydras.
Well, see, I'm a little bit in disagreement with you there, just over the simple fact that I think the mechanic of the emitters that's in that target is part of the big problem, because nobody was expecting anything that was going to come along and be like, oh, I'm going to suck down your
well, that's damage
charge on your armor faster than a hooker on Main Street goes down. Nobody was expecting.
But that's damage delivery, right? I mean, that's why I'm saying the LA3 and the 4 charged Cs. I'm not even using the charged C for the charge. It's because of those emitters. It's for the resistance, because you have to sit in those emitters. If you want to complete the target, you have to have your resistances so high that you don't worry about your charge, which is a little bit different than what we saw with the Hunter, but it's also kind of asinine in my mind. I mean, I don't know. If you're going to change the values of that charged armor, but then not touch anything in the target and have this result, something was messed up somewhere.
Well, I think the other thing too to remember, and I was doing the Hydra testing and TSM was doing the A sets in the first one. I don't remember seeing. Did the test server or the preview server have the multiple concentric circles with the emitters sitting right on top of each other like we have it in the S set?
No, it did not.
I think there was one spot that had 2, and there was a big enough gap where you didn't have to go into both of them.
Yeah, see, and I know they're not final and everything, but that's also a perception thing, because I mean, the first time I walked into the S target, I was like, "Holy cow!"
I mean, I'll be honest. In the first test server, I walked away. Like, I parked the hydras, and I was like, "This is crap." And I messaged Robot. I said, "This sucks. You guys fucked it. Come up with something else." I mean, there was so much stuff that was wrong in that thing. It was ridiculous. And I went and tested Bucky's the rest of the time. And the thing, and you said one of my favorite words is the perception. A perception is a player's reality. And I think Kix is finally starting to realize that, because they're popping that word out there now. But damn, they still don't understand the concept, I don't think. Because they gave
the other good point you made. Sorry, George, continue.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the other really good point there you've made is escalation, because
this is the first raid. So if we're seeing this at the first raid, what are we going to get next time? And the time after that. And the time after that.
Refitting for the escalation while trying to finish your fleet.
Well, it's actually worse because if you started out and you're only doing the A sets, you're gonna have to refit if you want to do the S set, and then you're gonna have to refit when we have an escalation. But then in March we're getting a new garrison that we're gonna have to build a fleet of or refit or whatever. I don't even know what the hell they're planning on that because no one's saying anything.
Yeah,
I mean, as a player, you're like players do not like to be this. I don't even I'm blanking on the word that I want to use.
In the dark.
The uncertainty makes them. It does not engender a good feeling in a player. This is not what you want to do to your clients. You don't want your clients or your customers to be uncertain of what they're going into or what they're purchasing or like anything. You want them to be, a happy client is sure of what they're going to get.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
While we're talking about things not working and liking to know what you're going to get. Do we want to touch on what's going on with Siege Battery at all?
Yes.
I will.
That annoys the shit out of me.
I will. I will say that I took a King's Writ, blank, nothing on it, Siege Battery, 3. I took a King's Writ, I put a countermeasure special on it, blank. I took it into a base, testing it, removed one turret to the edge of the base, and we had both ships get hit. Siege Battery takes a beating. Countermeasure did fine. Nothing else on the hull at all. No specials, nothing, no weapons.
You mean frontline countermeasure, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And but I didn't have any counters. So I didn't want to throw it off by having because somebody mentioned that when I first tested it, I had a couple counters on it, and they said, well, you're going to increase the range on the counters on the one possibly, so it could throw off. Well, so I pulled them off. Well, everybody will. I can tell you that I don't know in what all targets this entails, but in a base hit, you want to take your Siege Battery and replace it with the counter special instead. When I have mentioned this to Kickside, I don't, it's forwarded, so that's all I get.
Well, I'm seeing that in the S target as well because I have one ship that has frontline countermeasure on it, and the damage difference is it's a little bit more than a multiple of 3, and that's not acceptable in my mind.
Right, and it's a valid test. I mean, those are the only items on it, so it's just not working correctly. They have the same turret defense, 50-50 on each special, and they're just not performing the same. So if one's performing better, that could be, but they're not performing the same. And then I was also having can't remember what else now, but that was it on the Siege Battery, and that's also on Siege Battery 4. Siege 3 and 4 seem to do that.
I mean, there's so much that's wrong with this raid and with the game in general, but honestly, it's for me personally. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me personally, it's at this point, it's not even the problems themselves that are what bother me the most. At this point, it's how the problems are being dealt with that bothers me more than the actual problems themselves. Like number one,
we don't know nothing about any mechanics, and I don't know what you're talking about, dude. We're clueless.
Well, I think the way that you put it before, Mike, was actually more apropos. It's the attitude about the problem.
Yeah, the problem is not the problem. The problem is the attitude about the problem.
Yeah.
It's because, like we get told, oh, well, you should have known to put this one particular special on that hasn't been released for 3 years and was never even really mentioned except for one person thought it might be a good idea. You know, so, but we were supposed to have ESP and know that, that's something we were going to need for our builds, and then we get told that we don't know how certain mechanics in the game work. But we're the ones who test all your product. We're the ones who find all the bugs in your product. We're the ones that make videos and show you what's going on, what is wrong, and how things are supposed to work with your product. And you want to sit there and flap your gums and tell me I don't know how the fuck mechanics work? You need to just stop being on social media, period, because every time you open your mouth, you make shit work for yourself. Period. You want to say, I don't know this, and I don't know how this works, and I don't know how that works. Well, I tell you what, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works to be the lead designer of a company to give them the worst year that they've ever had under their history under my leadership. I definitely don't know how to do that.
But
somebody else go.
I would agree that I can handle. I'm okay with even broken product. I really am. I agree to their deal. That this is a test type. But what I don't agree to is no support or lies. And I get both those, honestly. And I love this game. I'm still here. I'm going to chug through. I'll figure a way. I think that this raid, in sitting back and looking at this raid is really biting them. It really is. It's not just the players talking. I'm looking around and I look at these points, and some people, of course, there's always going to be people that are able to refit, but before we had the haves and have-nots. Well, the have-nots are there not. And they are not for sure today on this raid. And so the participation, and I think actually the dollar figure that they're going to read is going to be so drastically lower that I would think that they're going to do something. That's my opinion.
Well, they can't just count participation either, because if you've got a level 120 or level 118 or whatever who doesn't have their fleet finished, that's using ironclads, yeah, you're going to count him as a participant. But there's a huge difference with him grinding 61s now just to get the minimum that he absolutely has to get, and that same level 115 player last raid getting 450 million and prepping for others. And so numbers are great, but numbers don't always tell the true story. And so even if there are 30,000 people that are doing the raid, if you look at the numbers between how many people who are normally doing very well in the raid and get all of the stuff that they normally get relatively quickly to go out and if they choose to help other players, versus those same players now, and the disparity between what they're normally at this point and now, that's what they need to be looking at. Not just saying we've got 90% participation. It's, okay, we've got 90% participation, but what do the numbers really mean?
Well, and plus, do they really care so much about participation, or is it the dollar figure that they care about? If you have 5 times less people that are participating, but the people who are participating are spending 5 times more, to them, that's probably a win, I mean, quite honestly.
Yeah, but then there's a loss associated with, or at least I would think there would be a loss associated with if, just using you and me as an example, if you're unable to do the raid and I prep for you and I'm running a crew and I can't be bothered stopping and repairing a ship, 5 individual ships at a time, and I go out and blow a crew and run a couple of repairs, if that's not happening, is that being outweighed by the money that people are spending just to get their raid done?
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we don't have these numbers, so we can't say for sure. But I would almost venture to guess people I know personally who have coined a whole lot of refits for their fleets to get through this raid, and people who in some cases have gone out and built an entire Hydra or 2 so they could do the Hydra thing, especially people during that first hour of the raid. I know there was a couple people when that bug was going on who coined a Hydra just so they could go out and do those Hydra targets to get all those points. So if that coining outweighs the coining of the people who aren't participating because they're not happy, to them it's probably a win. They get the same amount of money and have to do less work.
And again,
but the issue with that is
metrics.
Yeah, the issue with that is though that if someone has to spend, let's say $20 this raid to refit to get to the point where they can do the raid, and they're continuously in that position because of the way that they built the targets, eventually those people are going to say, screw it, bugger this, I'm not doing it anymore. And then you lose that player. So you may have the gain in the short term of them spending that money to refit, but they're not going to continue to do that if they're not enjoying it or they're feeling like they're being taken advantage of.
But see, that's the problem. You and I understand that, but they don't.
Yeah.
George, you want to talk a little bit about the ways some of the problems have been dealt with and the way the whole general, because I know we had talked a little bit about this last night.
I think I got most of it out last night, but actually I wanted to just say I just saw on the forums that the mods have actually said and acknowledged that there's a problem with Siege Battery, and it was passed up. And the catch is this: if everyone's playing this raid and taking real damage and paying real money to repair that damage and have Siege Battery on it, I'm sending in a ticket. It's been a known bug since apparently Templar done his testing. Well, if that's the case, why are we playing with it? Why isn't it fixed for the event?
I mean, I'm running
because it was more important to fix the charged armor.
Yeah.
It was more important to nerf something than it was to fix something. So yeah, I know out of my $4, I'm running 3 Siege batteries.
Unreal. That blows my mind. That just blows my mind. So it's a known issue. They're going into the raid, and I think that's the best line ever. The charged arm was more important to correct. Wow. That's actually that really bothers me right now. That's just not sitting well with me at all. At all.
And the sad part is that special actually affects both sides of the game, not just PvE. It's PvP. It's defense. It's just there's so much that it hits.
I think I'm actually I am gonna post for people to send in tickets. That's ridiculous. That's the entire raid. So if you're losing how much more damage you've taken over the course of the entire raid. Over the course of the entire raid, just think of how much extra damage you're taking because it's at, what, 40% instead of 49.5? That's a lot.
And at least it makes me wonder, would people have had to refit to layered armor if Siege Battery had been working properly in the S targets?
I don't know, because I know when I'm doing the auto and I'm coming out with like the 11-ish minutes, the frontline countermeasure one's like only a minute of that.
Oh yeah.
The other ones have almost twice as much damage. I mean, what the hell? Over the course
it's very possible had Siege Battery been working correctly, a lot of those people that did that refit would have never had to.
Or we would have had much better results going in and out, especially if we had invested in refits.
Taking a step backwards, how long has it not been working for?
3 months. Well, 2 months. Just about 15 days. Let's see, 45 days is when I turned in the ticket.
Okay, so if we go backwards again, how does that work out to icebreakers not working out in the FM? Is that part of the reason?
That's a very good question. Well, I don't know, because a lot of people, like icebreakers, for example, they tend to use Garrison Battery. So I don't know if Garrison Battery is having the same problem as what Siege Battery is.
No, good point. But it does make you wonder how long it's been broken for.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible a Siege Battery is having that problem. Garrison Battery could be as well, and that could have a lot to do with why we're seeing the increased damage in the FM.
Because remember, the FM wasn't broken either.
Well, I think Templar actually had tested all of them, and the only ones that weren't working right were the Siege Battery ones, the ones that you could actually retrofit. Because I think what they're saying is the retrofit's not applying.
call me pessimistic, but I would rather have somebody that I know more and trust more than a mod test. That's just me.
Well, Templar does a lot of testing. I
would say that's correct in a base with 2 King's Writs. That would be correct with just that test. Only in a base with 1 turret and 2 King's Writs. But that's the only thing I would say. I mean, that's the only thing I know. Now I'm gonna get smashed by King's Writs. I can feel it. I'm serious. I've been running around doing really well, and now I'm gonna get bumped.
Gave him the ammo.
I am. I'm like 6th in the globe for the medals. I've never been this high. It's because I didn't buy into it. Oh yeah, it works. We passed this up.
So, what's anybody have to say anything positive about raid prizes and the raid and all that kind of stuff? I know one thing I'll say that's positive. I like the way the generalist is set up. I kind of really like the generalist. I like that it's like straight, defenses across the board, and you can totally switch whatever role that it's going to have based on whatever CIC that you put on it. I think it's truly a true generalist at this point based on swapping out CICs and swapping out weapons. It's not like, the Zelos where they said it was a generalist, but really it was a siege hull because it had all those ballistic buffs built into it. It's like, no, this is a straight generalist, and then its role is dictated by the CIC. Personally, I think that's the generalist is the only place CIC should be, but that's a whole nother conversation by himself.
Yeah, but I really like that too, though, because now people don't have to. I mean, in theory, with switching those command or CIC command module things out, man, that's a great thing. In all honesty, if those weren't my 3rd priority now to build, if I didn't have 2 other fleets to build, but that's really the one that I like to look at. You're right. I think that the stats, I like that option to, when I want to switch it over, I just change this one thing, and heck yeah, I really like that idea. So props to that. I agree. It's just I wish it was not my third on priorities.
Rue, you had something you wanted to say?
No, I was just saying that we've had reports that, you said you like the generalist. There's been a lot of reports that the Zealous, which is a generalist, is not able to fire and is blocked in the A sets.
Yeah, I have heard of that. But like I said, I was looking more at just the chameleon and the fact that it's actually a generalist and the way I thought it should have been from the beginning. Just
no. I agree.
Yeah,
agree with that. I'm just concerned that people are thinking, oh, siege hull, draw around, oh, maybe I can use this next raid. Well, just be careful about thinking that.
Correct.
Yeah. TSM brought up a really good point the other night. Sorry, just real quick. TSM brought up a really good point the other night that the lower levels, people that are just coming into the game, starting into the game, wanting to participate, the first 2 hulls that they have to get for this raid at that level is the Ironclad and the Canoe, and they are on the bottom tier of the raid. And so the hulls you need to get, you don't have the hulls to get them with.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's a catch-22 that's been running for the last, year and a half almost.
Yep.
I'm stumped, man. I'm trying to think of the only positive I can say is that I figured out how to do it for instant repair damage. Yay. I mean, that's not, I don't know if that annoys me or if that's actually a good thing. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I'm looking for more positives too that affect everybody, not just you.
Yeah, I mean, the hope is 2 million points.
Yeah, I suppose that's positive. Although it's not as good, near as good now as what it used to be.
Well, it's for the top level base, for the people that got everything, and if we're running around hitting with Kingsrits and stuff. I mean, maybe not, maybe. I mean, but for the lower levels, at least it'll put a hurt on some of the stuff.
Yeah, Cut put a post out the other day on one of the pages about for the very low levels, that the weapon and the other, and I think he worked it out to be like 11 million, to where now you actually could have somewhat of a chance to scratch and kill incoming fleets.
The catch is the way that the game's set up right now. Like, if you want to do that, what are you giving up in the rest of the raid? Because, I mean, damn, all three of them. Like, I didn't like the price of the weapon and the special for it, but I like the price of the hull. Some of the other stuff, like I'm still pissed off they're trying to monetize, uranium base pots and titanium in the raid. That's asinine. I'm really getting sick of getting nickel and dimed in every aspect of the fucking game.
Yeah, it's a disturbing trend.
Yeah. Yep. But other than that, I mean, I wish they had an avenue for lower level players to actually be able to get those lower level like some of the stuff, like put in a sub C set, that you could bring something else on. Like they do have that campaign. I'm not even sure how many points you can get from that campaign, and I guess you can use Tide Seekers in it or something. But what happens if you don't have Tide Seekers? Like there's nothing basic that you can use, like research stuff or anything to even feel a part of this game. And if someone's coming into the game, or if someone's coming back to the game and they don't have stuff, I mean, if you don't feel relevant to the game at all, especially on the big monthly event, I mean, you're not going to want to stick around. You're not going to think the game's any fun at all. You're going to be frustrated and pissed off. So what avenues do they have? I mean, in 2016, it was actually set up well. At the FM, you could actually start from the FM, work your way through the FM, and actually get the crap that you needed. And then they lost it somewhere in 2017. And then they changed it to that 115, which completely changed. And it felt like they changed what the FM meant at that point. And that really is not... That's not a good way to go. That's the cornerstone of the game. You don't mess with that. If anything, you make it easier for people. Like the level 89, was that the 89? Was it the 89 they changed? Where you used to be able to do it with Punishers and Citadels, and now you can't even, scratch it with that. Oh, what the hell was that?
Well, if we fall back on the old reliable complaint about the FM all his way using restrooms.
No, I was just saying that the path to relevancy in the game, whether it be through the raid or the FM or anything, I mean, like there's nothing in, like if you wanted people to have even just the Ironclad or the canoes, have something in the raid that they can hit, right? They have one extra campaign, but you need Tide Seekers for it. Well, have something in there that you can use, your FM fleet or something low, like a Punisher and a Citadel. Have something in there so those players can actually start progressing and feeling relevant in the game, because otherwise they're going to just say, fuck this and leave.
Or, what would be an amazing way to deal with it, my personal opinion, is 2 months before the siege raid is coming, just go ahead and put the Ironclad in the Foundry, and people can just research it.
Well, as the game keeps escalating and they keep on making everything more and more niche, when people come into the game now, I don't care if you've been gone for like 2 or 3 years or whatever, if you don't have a certain standard of tech, it should just be given to you. You come in, you start the game at level 20 now instead of level 1. Fuck that. You don't need to do any of that crap. You don't need to go and hit cargoes to get blueprints. They all suck anyway, right? Here's the tech. You can start doing the FM today, regardless of how long you've been gone or if you're new or whatever. And then from there, make sure the path goes the right way so you can actually progress and feel relevant to the rest of the game. Otherwise, they're not going to want to play. This is a very simple psychological friggin' concept. I don't know why they don't get it.
I would disagree with. I personally think everybody should go out from level 1 to level 20 to hit cargoes, just for the simple fact it teaches you how to drive your freaking boats.
You're gonna learn that anyway. You're gonna learn that.
There's so many people who play this game who have gotten so much stuff handed to them over the years that can't use it even after they get it handed to them because they don't know how to drive it. I've watched people, I don't know how, I'm not going to mention any names, but I've watched people with top end tech that don't know how to drive their shit, that the only way they know how to get through a raid or get through anything is to just keep throwing money at the repair bill because they can't drive for a day.
Hey.
So I think, yeah, Ross. So I think those first 20 levels of learning how to drive your shit is actually pretty freaking important.
Yeah, there's a good suggestion that Cutoff has just made in chat. Lower level prize list rate that you could buy your way into the higher prize list that we will enjoy, but it would be filled with lower level prizes. So
that would be cool.
Yeah, like
That's
like
a good idea.
5,000 for Siege Battery 3 or something. Something where you could go hit like 2 targets and then get something and build the excitement and say, oh, look what I got. Build the fleet and then move further. And then the other piece to that on the back end, not just the FM or not just the raids and the FM, but if you have been away or if you are trying to catch up, let's please stop beating on these people and changing the targets in the TLCs and retuning them so that you have no hope of catching up.
Yeah, isn't that the most ridiculous thing in the world, that every time a TLC comes out, instead of getting easier, it gets harder?
Yeah, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. It goes back to the locking your customers out of their ability to pay you money. What the fuck?
That part is strange to me. I want new players brought in, and seriously, we need we're losing. No matter what anyone says, it was, the numbers. We have a player fall off, but we don't have the same coming into the game as are falling off. That's for sure.
I mean, it's always been that way. It's been that way through like 2015, and then in 2016 it actually started increasing with players coming back, right? Because it had changed, the balance and everything was changing. And then 2017, well, it was about like November, December of 2016 is when it started, and then into 2017 just it fucked everything that they had done. And the thing is, they don't advertise, they don't do anything else, but if you have a good game, word of mouth will do it. That'll help a ton. And right now they do not have good word of mouth. In fact, they have just the opposite.
Well, the key is, though, and we talked about this last night, before they even look at trying to get new players in and get returning players, they need to really look at and evaluate player retention. Because getting new players in and bringing old players back doesn't mean a damn thing if they're going to quit again in 2 weeks to a month. You got to figure out a way to keep these people.
Well, part of it is that TLC thing. I mean, why aren't you having the TLCs every damn week? One of the chore ones every week. Just kick it out there. I mean, Earth is a great example. He's come back. He wants to play. He's spending money. But the problem is he can't do certain things because they haven't been offered even. Like, he has had to buy fleets on offer just so he could do chores.
The thing is,
why should they even be? Why? I'm sorry. Go ahead, talk to me.
I was just going to say why the raid has got, let's just say, the difficulty is 100 in a raid. Then after the raid, you get your TLCs. That's where the little guy is supposed to be catching up, so they can get the stuff and so on. But then the damage or the difficulty is 110. Then when that TLC comes out again, the difficulty goes up to 150. I mean, it's ridiculous. It should get easier, not harder.
The perfect example of that was the Skyfire TLC with the Rhinos from Hell, the 115 target that everybody went absolutely spack over, that got removed from the FM, shows up in that TLC. I mean, at what point do you think that people that couldn't do it in the FM were going to be able to do it in the TLC? And oh, by the way, I didn't even say that it has changed. So people went all the way to the end and then went, oh shit, I can't do this.
Well, and like a lot of this stuff too, instead of rerunning TLCs over and over and over, why not just make it a regular campaign at this point? Like Ironclads and Cannoneers, make them a regular campaign. Get rid of all that old campaign crap that nobody used. Or you want to spend some time doing something worthwhile programming this game? Stop doing shit like Expeditions. Stop doing shit like fucking with the FM. Spend some actual worthwhile time redoing those fucking campaigns.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, even if you've got, so let's say you've built the Skyfires. I mean, yes, the tokens are nice if you've built the fleet, but you don't absolutely have to have the fleet. But if you're worried about too many tokens getting put out, then yeah, put it in the campaign tower. If you've already got the Skyfire and all the bits and pieces to it, then don't put tokens in there for those folks. If they really want to do it, they can. But it's like this brick wall. It's if you get 2 weeks behind, that exponentially grows because you're basically being penalized for taking 2 weeks vacation or God forbid having a holiday or having something happen in your life, and they're losing players because they can never ever catch up. And then they get the fangs and they think, great, I'm able to do my raid, everybody's happy, I got points, and then oops, sorry, here's a TLC, and if you don't have the fang or if you don't have the hunter, guess what, you're not getting charged armor and you're not getting the next ship.
But there's a couple of points there. So I've just returned to my sector and it has been inundated with new players. So they're either returning or they're starting fresh. So there's got to be some advertising going on somewhere. With the campaigns, like it goes back to what George said and what everyone said about their experience. So they're not going to grow doing those old crappy campaigns. The targets are there. They don't need to be remade, redesigned or anything. They're already there from past raids. Just use them. Just put them in there. No one is going to build Greta's nuclear cruiser, all that sort of stuff. So, and then the other part of this is that they're rushing like all hell to get as far advanced as they possibly can. And I said, well, you might want to slow down a bit because when you get to 50, guess what's going to happen? And there's that, positive player experience again. They're going to get to 50, they're going to get smashed, they're going to go, okay, well, I can't do anything now, so I'm going to give up again. There goes another income source.
Yeah, it's very, very discouraging for a new player. I mean, I've never, unless you start in a sector where people are willing to take you under their wing and help them out and that kind of stuff, they're failing off and falling off. And I started a new base on the Kicksai platform because I originally had started on Facebook, so I started a new base on the Kicksai platform, and I've actually just been logging in and watching it and paying attention because I spawned where all the other newbies spawned, and 99.9% of them, their base level hasn't changed in weeks and don't see them on the map. So it's like they're on for a couple of hours or a couple of days and then boom, you've lost them. And every coiner was at once a non-coiner, and you have to incent them to want to invest their entertainment dollar in the game.
I personally, I think Ross was born with coins in his account already, so I don't think that holds true necessarily for everyone.
I did coin my first raid, but I was a 9th level. Well, I think I was a 19. Boy, that was a good raid. I got second. I did coin the first raid, but it was like $10, back then. But I did coin from the start. I did.
Well, $10 today will get you 10 repairs on your siege fleet because of lag or some coding issue or something else. No value.
Oh, I'll tell you, back then I was a 9th level 19, and I'd buy $10 in coins. And I tell you, you coiner or you hacker, $10 put you that far advanced. It was really $10 really showed. It showed off. It was fun. Yeah.
And now Kix is just getting greedy, not just with the way they design the targets and they make you pay for every little thing, but res. I mean, if you go to the targets, I'm hitting 60, and I've got 30 million, and I get about $1 million per 60 set. So I've hit 90 targets, and my res has gone from 180 million to 211 million. I mean,
well, you know what they're setting us up for, right? Next raid points for res.
Yeah,
I said that.
Next time.
I'll never do that.
Well, I mean, they're already doing it. They're doing it with titanium and base parts and uranium. I could definitely see them trying to get away with doing it with res.
Yeah.
Now, there's no point though, because when you got Ross Crow in your world, just go around and hit his warehouse.
With frontline countermeasure.
I do want to corral us back to the. I do want to corral us back a little bit to the raid itself, though. What raid prizes do you guys think that are in the current raid that are actually worth getting? I'm curious as to that, because I know my personal opinion. But I want to hear what some of you other guys think. So, Caleb, we'll start with you.
Me personally is the flag for the Hydra and the Chameleon. They got to seriously look at the Buccaneer, because all it does is give health. You got to have some other stats or something with it, with that big aura.
Ross,
So
I know you got a word or two.
I would agree. I think I took the. I'm going to go for the Hydra. However, I have a Buccaneer fleet that I'm working on, and I'm a person that I complete fleets. So I'm going to complete the Buccaneer fleet, whether it kills me or not. And I don't want the lead. The ratio, when I looked at the math, and unless it has some thing that's working not intended, I don't. The same bonuses are produced by one extra Buccaneer, other than the ship health transfer of minimal. I think that 7 days build time is not justified for me. So I'm going to go for the Hydra thing, and as many armors as allowed. I'm doing okay, so I think I'll get those things.
Rue, what about you? What do you think's worth getting?
I kind of agree with Ross. Only because we know we need both fleets for the TLC after the raid cycle. We do have 4 cycles to get to that point. I don't want to get in a position where I've got 3 or 4 Buckies done now and then move on to the Hydras and then need the Buckies later and screw everything up. So I'm going to get the Bucky flag. I've got that in the oven. That will give me time to get that ready, or at least built, so that I can suicide it in VXP. There are some other good specials that are in there for the lower levels at the lower prices. I would like to get the generalist. I like playing with him, so I'm hoping that I can go ahead and get that. And then the 700 million pieces of luxury charged armor that we don't need, that you have to have. So
Toxic.
Well, at the moment, my priority is to get at least 4 charged armor, so that I can build my 4th Buccaneer, and have at least 1 charged armor on each of them. I don't think I'm going to get the lead ship, the Boon. I don't think I will. Nor do I think I will get the lead ship for the Hydra, because I just don't have. I think I haven't got enough hours left to do it just by running 60s. And so all I can do is have maybe 4 bucks ready for the next raid, and maybe then I'll be able to get one of the flags.
RB.
I'm the same. I've got enough CICs to get me through, so I'm really only aiming for the red armors. I'll get the build tokens, as in ship build tokens, because I need them. I don't see the point in getting the boon. I'd really like to go the Hydra route, but there's no point. So that makes me go, well, do I need to get the Hydra this time? Do I need to get the CICs this time? But it's that, am I just setting myself up to be even further behind? I don't know. And are they just going to change these armors again? So I don't really have a lot of confidence in what I'm even getting.
Yeah, let's just hope they don't try and do anything with that other armor now that's come out.
Well, they can.
Oh, they already did adjust that, didn't they? State in the thing that they adjusted the
they
armor and they pre-adjusted the red armor.
Yeah, they nerfed it before we even got it, so I guess technically you can't call it a nerf at that point.
Does that mean I'm going to get 500,000 points? Bloody hell!
And when I was talking about armors before, I didn't mean the red armors. I meant the ballistic ones.
Yeah. Well, luckily I got enough last time that I don't really need to worry about too.
George, what do you think's worth getting?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna get as much as I can because I've learned that lesson. But if someone's struggling or just getting in, I mean, the left side all the way, either the ironclads or the Bucky and everything up, and then after that, charged armor. As much as they keep on trying to play this down, that's a game changer in every single build for all of these targets, for raid, for TLCs, for the FM.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, if you can't get those things, if you can't get the Bucky and the big charged armors, I mean, concentrate on your FM. Look to the charged armors that you're going to need there, or what you're going to need to build your Zealous. Or I mean, I'm really upset that they don't have Zealous tokens in here, but you know, I would prioritize and go from there. I mean, it's really hard to suggest without, you know, because there's such a broad player base now. For myself, I'm getting as much as I can. I'm probably gonna try and get everything.
I know myself, the way things stand currently, the way things based on what's happening in the game right now, I am not worried about the Buccaneer flagship. I don't think that 300 armor point transfer per second is enough to really matter when you consider the amounts of damage when we get hit that we're taking. 300 points being transferred is like a minuscule drop in a pool. I don't think it's enough to justify an extra 7 days of building it. I am interested in the Hydra flagship. Of course, you know, I want to get at least 2 out of the 3 CICs that are available. Ballistic charged armor, probably. The way things stand at this point in time, is I'm not all that interested in the radioactive charged armor. Currently, radioactive plates actually work in the raid. And if I can have a regular, steady, ongoing source of deflection that doesn't go away, why do I care about a source of deflection that does go away? So that's me personally, my own self, what I'm looking at the moment as far as price. The radioactive deflection versus charge, you know, that's something that could potentially change. But I'm basing it on like where we're sitting right now and what's happening. So I don't know. I think I caught everybody, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, with the Bucky flagship, that the only thing I would like that is because you can then run your, even if it's just a hull, you can run your bucks into a target, bring them out half dead, throw the buck on, the flagship on, go into a target somewhere, into a cargo, and let them charge up, and then take the boon back out, and get that repaired while you hit the next lot of targets. That would be the only reason for me to do that. Just to save on some repair time.
George, what were you asking over there in the side chat?
I think he was talking about defenses on the hull. There was defenses, not just the transfer, repair transfer.
I'm logging in the game to check that right now because I thought it was just
they match the sorry. They match the regular Buccaneer.
Yeah, they should add at least a reload buff or something to it, like every other flagship.
Yeah, I'm logging in the game right now to check it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're not going to build the flag and you build another Bucky in its place, then all of that stuff would stack. But
yeah, I was going to say, as far as its actual effect of it, yeah, it's the only thing that's different is the armor. What is it, 650 armor point transferred every 1 second. That's the only thing that's different from the rest of them. The 35%.
So you're thinking of building a 5th Bucky?
Yeah, I'll just build a 5th Bucky.
Okay.
It's a week less time, and I don't see that healing effect being worth a week extra build time myself.
Is it healing or armor?
What's that?
Is it healing or armor?
It's the same thing because your armor points are your health. So it's the same thing. It transfers 650 armor points or health, whichever way you prefer to call it. It's the same thing every 1 second.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
But when you're getting hit by 3,000 points at a time or 10,000 points at a time from these targets, I don't see where 650 is going to make that much of a difference.
I mean, the function's like the Skyfire, but the thing is we have a 4-month cycle. I'm already seeing that they expect that extra resistance in the targets that are this month, that are balanced this month. I dread seeing what's going forward.
Well, yeah, but just the resistance part, you get that out of the regular Bucky, not that.
Yeah, but I think they're going to actually tune for that mechanic as well, though.
I think they're going to have a hard time tuning for only 650 points of armor transfer.
Maybe.
But time will tell.
Either way, if this keeps going the way it is, I'd want the 4 months out of the 3 months rate cycle back. At least I could do that. I wasn't falling behind. Not like this one.
Speaking of that, do we know when the tech store is going to be now? Has that come up at all?
I don't know, but they better unbork that thing because it's the first time in forever that I'm missing tech.
I guess it should be April because that would be the last rate of this 4-month cycle is when it should be.
That's what I was thinking too. Sorry, bit of a sidetrack.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Anybody else have anything that they want to talk about that we haven't covered yet? If you do, throw it out there. If not, we'll probably call it.
No, just thanks for an invite. Enjoyed it.
Oh, no problem. Hey, you're more than welcome anytime.
It was fun. Sorry I was late.
Oh, that's fine. You're more than welcome most of the time. No.
Thanks, Mike.
The explosions in the targets are awesome. I love it. It's great. I really like it, but the way shit blows up now, it's way better than it used to be.
Yeah, I said that I want my next warehouse upgrade to look like the silos they have in there.
Yeah, no, it's really cool, and the rocks and everything.
I was just going to say that's the one positive I forgot to mention was those rocks are pretty badass looking in my opinion.
They are. Yep.
The art team did a very good job on this, just in the graphics. And I mean, even though they're a pain in the ass and I hate them, those little emitters that drop, and if you zoom in and actually look at them, there's a lot of detail in them.
Again,
they are attractive targets.
Yeah, again, the art team has shone through. They should be given more responsibility, I think.
There's another thing with several of the targets. You go in and it puts you in straight on top of all the fire and everything. They don't give you time to set your fleets how you want it. You're going to have more time to sort your fleet out.
You know, that's an interesting point because I did bring that up because of the lag and all of the issues, which even Kix has admitted now to go from full screen mode and to turn off graphics and everything. That was one thing that I did ask for was let's bump up the timer from, 15 seconds to like 45 seconds or something. And then the player can choose to go ahead and start it if they want to. But if you don't log in enough time within that 15 seconds, your fleet's gone off to buggery and, you know, you've got no control over it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, this is something totally unrelated, but you guys talking about timer countdowns made me think about it. Why do we have a timer countdown for playbacks? God, that's annoying. Just saying. Like when I want to watch a playback, I shouldn't have to sit there and wait 15 seconds and nothing happens.
Well, that's the 15 seconds. It needs 9 of those seconds to recreate the battle in the background to show it to you.
Okay, so then what's the other 6 seconds for?
Oh, details.
It's like I want to watch a goddamn replay right now.
Okay, it took 14 minutes and 59 seconds.
All right, yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for tonight, guys. Hey, thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks for participating in chat, guys. You always come up with some good questions and good opinions, even though I might not always agree with them. Cuttlefish is a mandatory flagship. Anyway, we'll catch you guys next time, and we'll have some more information for you. Make sure you share this wherever you can, and if you found it interesting, give us a thumbs up. Later, guys.
Later, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Good luck, everyone.